Hey guys, Joe here from JP Details, and today's video is a how to wheels off detail like a pro guide, although be it without the use of a scissor lift and instead a trolley jack. I'll be covering the full cleaning and preparation process followed with a protection dressing. Also towards the end of the video I will cover the benefits for your car in regards to receiving a wheels off detail. Step 1. Loosen each wheel bolt before jacking the car up. Once the bolts have been cracked, line the trolley jack up to the lifting points on the chassis and jack the vehicle up so the wheel can spin freely off the floor. Continue to remove all wheel bolts and carefully take the wheel off the car and place to the side out the way. Where I currently live, the driveway is on a slant, so instead of removing all 4 wheels at once and putting the car on axle stands, I'm going to do one arch area at a time due to space, accessibility and overall safety. The only flat bit of ground on my driveway is in the car porch, which only leaves enough room to work around one side of the vehicle at a time. I begin with giving the wheels a good clean first and if required the full decontamination process. These wheels were fully detailed and coated in G-Technics C5 wheel armour just over 6 months ago, so they only require a basic yet thorough clean using Valet Pro Advanced Poseidon Wash and Wax. It's a good idea to clean the wheels first because after cleaning the arch areas, this wheel bucket will become incredibly dirty and the chances of inflicting scratch damage to the gloss finish wheels will be massively increased. Once the wheel has been cleaned and dried, the first process for the arch is to use the pressure washer and remove as much dirt and grime possible from all areas of the arch. Don't be shy with the pressure washer, you want to use the pressure of the water to blast as much dirt and grime away from the surfaces of the arch, a bit like cleaning slabs, a patio or a driveway. Next step, apply a liberal amount of Maguire's degreaser to the arch, keeping the product away from the spring area of the suspension. I'm not mechanically minded, but suspension requires its own grease to stop them from seizing and to function correctly. So whilst we still want to give the external areas of the suspension a good clean, it's good practice to reduce the amount of degreaser that comes into contact with these areas. Alternatively, instead of degreaser, you can use a strong dilution of APC. Personally, I choose degreaser because it is generally a stronger chemical than APC and arches are often extremely filthy and layered in thick dirt and grime. I then load my wheel cleaning brush with degreaser and work into all areas of the arch and reload the brush when necessary. Depending on the design of the arch you are working on, may require you to use a few different size brushes to get into all the nooks and crannies. When this stage is done and I am happy with the results, I take the pressure washer and remove all products and grime. At this point I will highlight the most common contamination within the arch areas, which is blobs of road tar and a lot of them. I saturate one half of the wheel arch using Auto Smart TARDIS tar and glue remover, allow the product to dwell for 30 seconds, then thoroughly work in using a microfiber cloth. Again, keeping the product away from suspension components, although we still want to ensure all blobs of road tar are removed from them. If there are still blobs of road tar that remain after the first hit, and chances are there still is, give the arch a second hit and work over, repeating the same process, which is exactly what I did for this vehicle. The next common contamination found in these areas are metal particles that are released from the brakes each time they are applied. At this stage, either before or after the tar removal, you may want to consider hitting the wheel arch with a couple layers of Iron X remover. I opted not to complete this stage because this is my work vehicle. However, if you are working on your pride and joy and not your workhorse, I would recommend hitting the arches with a bleeding fallout remover and agitate the product into all areas of the arch before continuing to the next step. Once the decontamination process is complete and I'm happy with the results, I apply TFR or traffic film remover and allow to dwell for 5 minutes. Then give the arches a final jet wash. This removes all decontamination chemicals and any final traces of dirt and grime. When this is complete, take a microfiber cloth and continue to dry the arch. When this is complete, the wheel arch will be incredibly clean and ready for the protection dressing. Although some dressings can be applied to wet surfaces, so depending on the type of protection dressing you're going to use, you may not need to dry the arch at this stage. The protection dressing I'm going to use is Aerospace 303 Multi-Surface Protectant. If this was my pride and joy and not a work vehicle, I would have opted for G-Technic Permanent Trim Restorer. However, because I make a point of doing a wheels off detail for the caddy once a year, to save time and money, I'm using a cheaper and quicker product to apply. Liberally apply Aerospace 303 to all areas of the arch and allow to dwell for 5 minutes before working in using a new microfiber cloth. I then apply a second layer, allow to dwell for 5 minutes, then work over again using the same microfiber cloth until all excess product is removed, not forgetting to coat the brake calipers. Process complete. So, what are the benefits of a wheels off detail? Obviously the main benefit is having super clean and protected wheel arches, protecting them against the effects of dirt buildup, particularly important for the metal chassis and suspension components. It also gives you a good chance to inspect brake lines, discs, brake pads, suspension and wheels. However, like all other areas on a vehicle, if they are left uncleaned for a long period of time and dirt is allowed to build up, particularly over the winter months, dirt, grit, salt and general grime will quicken the degrading process of materials found within a vehicle arch, or any surface on a vehicle for that matter. Wheel arches are even more susceptible to rusting, particularly over the winter months when salt will inevitably flick up into the arches. A good clean for the arches may appeal to the most OCD of people, but also those that want to protect their pride and joy against the elements to the fullest and prolong these important vehicle components. I briefly mentioned earlier, my method is to do this process once a year and always in the springtime, mainly to clean out salt and grit that has become trapped over the winter months. It also gives me a good chance to give the wheels a thorough clean and to check all mechanical components. Again, if this wasn't my work vehicle, there would have been a few additional steps I would have completed, including a bleeding fallout remover stage and also long-term protection using G-Technic coatings. As always, thank you for watching, give the thumbs up button a tickle, subscribe if you're not already, check out my other social media and give me a follow. Direct links found on my YouTube channel page. Cheers guys, I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.